everyone, and happy Wednesday, oh, poop, Thursday, October 8th. I was actually just thinking in my head because I had a blooper with this new mission called a blooper. It was just false work on the operator. But guys, I've had a lot of people request to put some notes in with like what verses we're going over, and so anyway, I had a blooper just now because of user error, and I was like, and I had to check my watch for the time, as you know I always do, or the date rather. And I was like, and so as I started this, as I hit this weird record button in this awesome app that makes things easy, I was like, myself, a little bit in pride, I was like, I'm gonna get it this time without looking at my watch. And then I started, and I said Wednesday. Anybody else feel like that sometimes? So it is Thursday, October 8th, and that was my long way of saying it. Guys, today we're going to do Psalms 56 through 58. Let's dive right into 56. So Psalm 56, and this is, and I love how it states it here, it is a record of memorable thoughts of David. And we're going to see a couple of different things that are going on in his life for when he wrote these thoughts. So 56 is, and I had to look this up for pronunciation because I don't want to keep mispronouncing things for you. So 56, I'm just going to read out of my notes. This is during the first day of David and Gath, and this is in reference to 1 Samuel 21, 10 through 15. Okay. And I'm just going to read from my notes. After David left the home of priest Ahimelech, which we talked about yesterday, go back and watch that, with Goliath's sword, he fled to Gath, which is in Philistine, or Philistine. I'm a Philistine, so Philistine. I didn't look that one up, I'm sorry. Comment and tell me how to pronounce it. So he fled to Gath, and when he got there, the king of Gath, this is what I had to look up, Achish, 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 King Achish, kind of like saying, oh, what a beautiful, or like, oh, look, it's a quiche in the window. I want to eat it. I'm sorry, I'm on like a horrible joke spree right now, and they're just terrible, but I'm just going to be real with you. They made me laugh, that's all that matters. So he went to the king of Gath, and the all of the king's servants, and they started saying to King Achish, like, you need to capture this man. Hasn't Israel been in battle against Philistine for years? And David knew of these rumors, and so he acted insane. And even a quote in my Amplified Bible says he drooled on his beard. But he acted insane, which actually ended up saving his life because King Achish actually reprimanded his servants and the people of his kingdom that told him that that was David. And he said, why would I let a madman into my house? How dare you even imply that? And so David was able to save his life and flee from Gath. And when he left Gath, he went to the cave. I didn't look up this pronunciation. I'm so sorry. I'm slacking. The cave of Adullam. And we're going to get to Cave of Adullam. Put a bookmark in that. Put your star. You know me. I got all kinds of stuff. Put your mark on that because we're going to return to this scene for Psalm 57. So Psalm 56, I've laid it out for you. He was captured. He's trying to flee the wrath of King Achish in Gath. So now we have that as the background. I think it's really important because now, if you put yourself in that scenario where a whole town is looking to murder you, let's hear what David has to say. So I found on this beautiful scholarly article online that Psalm 56 can really be divided into two sections, even though it's a very short psalm. The first one is that I love this. David contrasts his evil doing and threatening enemies with God, with his faithful God. So he makes that apparent. Secondly, in the second section, David expresses the truth that he is watched from two directions. He's being watched from two directions. And in the case of his enemies, which is one direction, they're just looking for him to fail. They're looking to kill him, right? Have you ever felt that way, that some people in our lives are just looking for us to fail, waiting for us to fail? So that's one side, that he's being watched, and he's acknowledging that. And there's fear, and there can be fear involved with that. Then the other side, he's being watched by the Almighty God, who is his protector. So do you see the complete contrast there? One side, humans, fleshy, trying to tear you down, but you're also in the shelter of the wings of the only protector of God. Which one would you turn to? Which one are you turning to? I asked myself that. Okay, so some of the verses I enjoyed from this, I'm going to read verses 3 through 4, and it says, let me get straight out of the Bible because I can make so many mistakes when I'm writing these things, and you need to hear the true word. Starting with verse 3, and again, it's verses 3 through 4. What time I am afraid I will have confidence in and put my trust and reliance in you. And he's speaking to God. Picking up at verse 4. By the help of God, I will praise his word. On God, I lean, rely, and confidently put my trust. I love this word. I will not fear. What can man who is flesh do to me? Juicy, delicious, and it's hot cocoa on your throat. It is warm and decadent. I just love that. So I'm going to read 4 again. By the help of God, I will praise his word. On God, I lean, rely, and confidently put my trust. I will not fear. For what can man who is flesh do to me? And then I want to round this out with verse 9. My enemies will turn back in the day that I cry out to God. This I know. What confidence? I want that confidence. And I'm asking God to help me with that confidence because it can't come from anywhere. This I know. For God is for me. And that is, you've heard that God is for me, not against me. That's Romans 8:31. Don't think I'm a Bible guru on that. It was giving me a little note in my Bible. So that is Psalm 56. Let's jump right into Psalm 57. I'm trying to keep this a quick Bible study for you. I don't like long ones. But Psalm 57. Now, remember, this is where I told you to put the bookmark. So he fled from Gath. He had acted as he was insane, and the king said, I don't want anything to do with him. And so that actually saved his life. And he fled Gath, and he actually went to the cave of Adullam. 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 A-D as in dog, U-L-L-A-M as in monkey. Adullam. And in this cave, once his family and closest friends and his followers heard that he was in this cave, 400 men gathered to him to support him. And at that point in the cave, he became a commander over those 400 additional men before he went off to Moab. So that's where we are. That's setting the scene. But remember, he's still being pursued. Now, I mean, he's being pursued by the Philistine king. He's, of course, being pursued by Saul. Crazy. And so Psalm 57, really, and I'm just taking these out of the notes that I got again from another scholarly. And if you want that website, please email me directly, messy.christian.amy, A-M-Y, @gmail.com. It's going to be on this video somewhere when I try to edit it with my very mediocre skills. So email me directly and I'll send you the links and we can start a conversation together and I will answer any questions. Psalm 57 really expresses extreme and unwavering confidence. So there's that word again. You hear confidence, right? And I'll touch on that. In the Lord, despite his dire circumstances. So again, we can kind of divide these into 2 sections. And the first one, which is verses 1 through 6, is going to be a plea for the protection of God. And then the final verses, verse 7 through 11, is an offering of praise to God. So plea for protection and praise. And so let's dive right into the verses that really just touched me this morning. It's verses 1 through 2. So I'll read verse 1 and then I'll tell you when verse 2 begins. So verse 1, Be merciful and gracious to me, O God. Be merciful and gracious to me. I like my repeaters. For my soul takes refuge and finds shelter and confidence in you. There's that word confidence. Hang on to it. Yes, in the shadow of your wings will I take refuge and be confident until calamities and destructive storms are past. And I'm a visual person, as you all know. And when I think of destructive storms, so I'm in the South. My family's from Alabama, and there's an unfortunate amount of tornadoes and very bad storms that can take place in that climate. And so I think of a tornado, and what all you need to do is be Twister to know what to say, to do. But what do they tell you to do? Number one, you need to get into, I would say, a hollowed ground, but something that is, if you can, beneath the floor. If not, you need to hold on. And this is a true statement for dear life to something that goes deep into the ground, for something that is rooted, steadfast. See where I'm going with this, right? So when we are in storms of our life, what do we need to cling to? Are you going to just go stand and say, all right, what happens will happen, not protect yourself? Or are you going to find the steadfast refuge and shelter that will save your life? And that is God. Verse 2, I will cry to God Most High, who performs on my behalf. We are lucky people who will perform on my behalf and who brings to pass his purposes for me and surely complete. Hang on to that one. It's a reflection of what we had just read in Psalm 56. What time in God I will lean. And then going back to verse 9, excuse me, I went to the wrong verse, but verse 2 and 57, in my opinion, kind of does a good reflection of verse 9 in Psalm 56. And 9 I'll read again. My enemies will turn back in the day that I cry out to God. This I know. For God is for me. This I know. For God is for me. All right, let's round it out with Psalm 58. This, as it says in my superscript, I think is what I saw it was called, that little thing that describes the psalm. Um, it says just a record of memorable thoughts of David. And many scholars have described Psalm 58 as a prayer against unjust judges. Anybody like having things pop up in their mind, and maybe it's like, I'm convicted, am I an unjust judger? If somebody walks by and Satan takes over and it's like, why is she wearing that? Evil judging of myself. All of this. And I, the unjust judger. And I am. I can be many times, and I need only God's strength to convict me in the moment. Have me be grateful for that conviction. So it's a prayer against unjust judges, and it's what the same scholar that wrote this, he broke it down into three sections. One, well, he broke it down into two, and then I had to add a third. One is the indictment of unjust judges, and of course, when I think indictment, I think of like one of my favorite shows, Law and Order SVU. Boom, boom. So indictment, accusing, and then this word I had to look up. Imprecation. 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 And I had to look it up, and I saw it. Here's some of the synonyms I saw: curse, a slanderous accusation, or a public act of denouncing. So now we know that. So imprecation against unjust judges. And then the third one that I wanted to add in, definitely led by the scholar's notes, not for me. I just needed more breakdown because I need simplicity. And then that is God's vindication of and for vindication of and for the consistently righteous. And the word the Amplified Bible uses for consistently righteous is unyielding. I want that. I strive for that. So the verse I'm going to read, and we're going to round out with this one, is 10a. It's when I say 10a and 10b, I think you get it, but I'm not reading the whole verse. I'm just in this case reading one of the first lines. The unyielding righteous shall rejoice when he sees the vengeance of God on the wicked. Good stuff, my beloveds. And again, I'm actually trying to write these a little bit cleaner because I've had people ask for the notes, so I'm doing my best to keep it clean. Can't promise you a good spell check. I don't spell well. But if you need these, I would be happy to send them to you. They're messy, messier than me, if that's even possible. I continue to thank those of you who have offered your prayers and support and my recovery from surgery. God is good all the time. God, I thank you for this beautiful day as I look around and just see your sun, your trees. One of my favorites is listening to the birds. God, thank you for this day. You are our King. God, you are our protector, and help us to cling all of our lives to you in these stormy times and in the different storms. For you are the only thing that is rooted to the core. I love you so much, God. And please be with everyone watching, that they may cling to you. I pray this might reach one soul and help them in their faith walk. But it is in your hand. Your mercy endures forever. I pray also, God, for every single soul that's not watching this. I hope that through any vessel that you provide, they find you. I love you. Have a great Thursday. See you tomorrow. It's Friday Eve.